Hey everybody, I wanted to hop on for a quick update because we got a shipment of perennials in, and although this isn't a really big order, it's a very important order to us because the company that we get these from, Bluebird Nursery, they're out of Nebraska. They have an inventory that satisfies some holes in the plants that we can get from our regular suppliers, and so all of these plants meet one or more of these criteria. So either they're North American natives because they have a lot of really good native plants, they're going to be really cold hardy, and when I say cold hardy, I mean down to zone 4, so that's pretty cold hardy. And then, or they have a lot of shade tolerant plants that we can't get from other places. So I'm going to go through and just tell you about some of these plants. I don't know all of them really well, but I know a lot of them. I don't know right off the top of my head which ones are North American natives, but I do know which ones are the shade and the cold, so I can kind of tell you a little bit about that. So let me give you a little peek at these. I think this is really good for anybody who's looking for shade or cold tolerant plants because there's a lot of them in here. So let me give you a little overview. Here we have a bush clematis. Now we can get other bush clematis, but we wanted to try this particular variety. Beautiful blue flowers. Bush clematis usually benefits from some kind of caging or support because it gets quite large. Another plant that gets absolutely huge is this Filipendula. This is the Venusta version. Beautiful leaves on it, so it has a little bit of that red kind of tint to it, and then it gets beautiful plumes on it, but it does get quite large. Over here, this is a blue Lobelia, beautiful color on that. So this is one that we always like to have. Next to it is some false dragonhead, but it's a variegated version. So we really like that one. I think that one can take quite a bit of shade as well. Let me just look real quick. Yeah, you put it in sun or part shade. That's a lily we wanted to try. This here is a Wisteria called Aunt Maude, and it's starting to bud out a little bit, so that's going to be a nice vine, climbing type of vine. This one here is a Solomon seal, so beautiful variegated leaf on that, and if you look over here, we have some flowers appearing, so those are quite nice. This is a Persicaria, and this one is really good for shade as well, but I think, yeah, that's a zone 5, so that one's not quite as cold hardy. Also not as cold hardy is going to be the butterfly bush. This is a 3-in-1, so there's 3 colors on this one here, but that not quite as cold hardy. This is a Hepticodium. This one the pollinators absolutely love, especially when it's blooming late in the season, and it's kind of more of a shrub type of plant, but that one is also a zone 5. And then another zone 5 is going to be these miniature roses. We get those because people really like them. They a lot of times put them in containers. They do not winter over well for us in containers, so you have to have them in a protected area. So we have to remind people of that. And they also tend to be a little tricky to keep over the winter if you don't keep them protected in our area, just because we get so much colder. Let's see, there's also, this is another butterfly bush, but this one is a zone 4 hardy butterfly bush. And you can see it has a little bit different flowers than the zone 5s, maybe not quite as plush, but it's a good option for our area. Another Persicaria for shade, and I think that one's probably a zone 5. Nope, that one's zone 4, so this one is a little bit more hardy. Here we have the Oenothera. This one can take a good amount of shade, or part shade at least. It gets beautiful yellow flowers, but it can also take full sun. And then over here, these remind me a lot of what we used to call buttercups, and they grew in the swamps over by us, but I don't know if it's the same thing or not. Maybe be completely different. So they call it a Celadine poppy, and it's beautiful yellow color on that. That's a new one for us, so I'm excited about that. This is silver lace vine, and this one also, I think, yeah, that's a zone 5 as well. We haven't grown that one before because we were afraid of it because it's zone 5, but people have told us it's a pretty easy one to grow. Another Persicaria. This one's still dormant, so we're waiting for that one to pop through and wake up. And then this one here is just waking up. It's, oh boy, I'm not even going to try to say that. It's also known as, it's northern sea oats, so that's a lot easier to say. We have another Clematis here. This is the Princess of Wales. This one is absolutely beautiful, and they're beautiful tulip-shaped blooms. This is one that we get every year. We absolutely love it. Over here, this one is a snake root, or a, how do you say it, Simicifuga. This one gets white flowers. Sometimes they'll have more of a pink flower. Sometimes they have really dark leaves. This one has more of that green. This is a new one for us, and I'm very curious to see or to learn more about it. Look at that beautiful flower, and I like that some of them are pointing down. Some of these, I think they might be the newer blooms, are pointing up. It's called Aphrodite, and it's a Dodecatheon Medea, or something like that. It's a zone 4. It could take part shade to shade. So this is new for us. It's kind of an elegant plant. Very interesting leaves. They're kind of soft and plush. Very nice. So like that. We have some grasses here. Here is one I'm not so familiar with. It's a Rudbeckia. called Autumn Sun. I think we were trying this one just because it's so different. I think sometimes people call it Mexican hat or something like that. I don't remember if that's, I might be confusing it with something else. This is some monk's hood, so that's another one that can do usually part sun. Yeah, plant and part sun. This one here is some Louisia, and this is one of my favorite plants. It blooms very, very early, has that pinky peach flower, looks absolutely beautiful. It's not a super big plant. It gets quite a bit bigger than this though. I think you can expect it to get about 5 times bigger. It's a nice kind of mound, gets covered in flowers. We really enjoy that one. Blooms so early and has a pretty long bloom time on it. This is a perennial sweet pea down to zone 4. Here's some turtlehead, and let's see, turtlehead can do zone 3, so super hardy and needs sun or part sun. And then we do have some peony here. This is what, red charm? Yeah, so that's just one that we weren't able to get from our other growers. These over here are going to be the plants that had come in. I'd done an unboxing of these. Good news is this Echinops Ritro that looked really rough when I opened the box ended up doing just fine. It recovered very quickly. So we're going to have to get all these potted up into bigger pots, and for the next 2 months we're going to keep growing them, and then throughout the season we'll be keeping an eye on them and taking good care of them to get them up to size. I do have other things in here, so I can show you. Maybe I'll go over here to the heucheras. The place is pretty empty right now and a little bit of a mess, but we're getting it organized. So we brought in the heuchera, but the one I'm going to show you is over here, and this one is called Fire Chief. It just has a really nice color to it, and it's one that we have a hard time getting from other growers. We have a couple others with like these beautiful dark leaves. That's one thing nice about the heucheras is the variety of color that the foliage is in, and then the flowers can kind of change color as well. I also like this one. It's called Paprika. Really nice. And oh, this one too. What one is that? Plum Cascade. So this is more of a, I think it's a Tiarella, and it cascades down. I've got more plants over in the back there. Those are ones that we had either planted bare root or they had come in pretty small, but you know, kind of a mix of things in here. I must confess, it's nice having all this space right now, but in a couple of weeks when those other shipments come in, we are going to be up to our eyeballs in plants. We're going to be fighting to find space. It gets really crazy around here. Now these, we get them in small, gives us a chance to pot them up, start growing them on, and a lot of these we're not planning to even sell until summertime, but we have to start them off now and take good care of them to get them up to size. So that's our plan. Otherwise, right now we are busy still planting some annuals, lots of work in there. We're behind on our trimming of the annuals because they are doing quite well. We've had quite a few sunny days, so they're growing a little faster than they normally do. So we've got to get to trimming, but we want to finish. We just have coleus and geraniums left to do, and then we're good to go. So that's where things are at. Thanks for checking in. I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.